What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is a long overdue video. I get the question all the time, what are my machine settings? What machines do I use when I'm sewing swimwear? And this is the video that is going to answer that question with some examples of how the stitches work. So for reference, my machine and all of my supplies that I would use on a day-to-day basis for any sewing project and for my business is going to be linked down below in the description box. For my Amazon storefront, everything is already in there. Just click the link and click on the one that says sewing supplies. Everything, all of this is there. So for my serger, let's just start off. This is a Brother Lock 1034D. For my sewing machine, this is a Brother SQ 9185, and these are the two machines that I have been using since the start of my brand, and I love them, and I don't plan on changing them out anytime soon. I might add to this collection, but I don't plan on changing these out. These are perfect for sewing at home. They're also easy to store. I don't leave this stuff out. I typically put it away in my cabinet, and they're out of sight, out of mind until I need to use them. That way they don't collect dust and all that stuff. But anyway, let's start off with the Serger settings. I think this is super fast and easy to kind of understand. My Serger settings, they almost never change, you guys. This is why it's easy to explain to you guys. Let me move the camera. So I think I got you guys really close. Okay, yeah. So up top, immediately, I'm going to talk to you guys about this bar right here. So on your sewing machine, most likely have this bar. A lot of times people ask me why their threads popping and stuff like that, and 9 times out of 10 it's because they forgot to lift this bar up. This is the bar that frees your threads. Okay, so if this is stuck and this is down, the threads are going to be too tight. They're not going to have room to spin and flow through the machine freely, and all your threads are going to pop. They're going to get tight. You're going to have to keep on rethreading your machine, and that is annoying. So don't do that. Let's get right into these tension settings. Okay, now that you know to lift this bar up right here, a lot of your problems are going to disappear. Okay, when it comes to sewing, a lot of the hard work is already done as soon as you lift this up. Now, as far as my tension settings, again, they almost never change. So from left to right, let me just explain what these threads do. These two right here are the ones that go through the actual needle down here. So these two go through the needle. This one goes down and it goes into the left needle. This one goes down and it goes into the right side of the needle. These two right here are the ones that get threaded underneath your machine. So these two get threaded, but whoops, they go, let me try to lower it. They get threaded, these two get threaded underneath the machine, and they come out the machine through these two needles down here. I'm not gonna get into that part because I think you already know how to thread your machine, but yeah, so these two go under and these two are going over. So that's that part. Up here from right to left, left to right, these two that go in the needle are at a 2.5 mark, the 2.5 on here, the tension. And this is just, the tension is just so that your threads run smoothly and not so tight and, you know, sticking together, so you don't need that. These two are the ones that go underneath, and I need these to have a little bit more toughness to it, so they actually lock and turn into a braid for your machine to close your seams. So these two are set at a 4.5, so 2.5 and then 4.5 for these two. So that's that. On the side of the machine, this is again more tension stuff, but this one is your gather stitch. So the lower that this number is, the straighter and smoother it's going to be. The higher that this number is, the more loose, and it's going to start curling and doing things that you probably don't want it to do for swimwear unless you have that type of design. But I typically keep mine at right above the 1. It's not like at 1.5, but it's right above the number 1. This one, again, for stitches, I keep mine at a number 3. If you put it down here, it's a little bit tight. Put it up, it's a little bit loose and it does weird things, so I keep it at a number 3. This one right here to the far right is for your blade. This is literally only for your blade. So when it's at the R, that means it's closer to the needle. So you're gonna be chopping off fabric more closer to the needle. I keep mine at a number 7 because I don't be needing that much fabric to be cut off. because I have almost perfect measurements when I do it, so I don't need that much fabric cut off. And I keep it at 7 because the blade is furthest away from the needle, meaning that I'm not gonna have too many scraps left over when it drops down. So that's the settings for there. And as an example, this stitch right here, this is a straight stitch on the settings that I typically use. So that's how it looks, right? That's a straight, good, clean serge. Now this one, you see how I'm holding this in my hand and it's curling like that? That's the example of when you change your tension settings on the side to make this one go all the way up to the gather stitch, which is great because I do use this, but I use it on like mesh fabrics and like very sturdy fabrics if I want to make some sort of quick gather. It works really well. So you see how it's curling and I'm not doing anything? That's the stitch for the gathering. This is the stitch for the swimwear that I use. It's laying flat, it's flush, it's nice, it's clean, it's me. Okay, so let's move that out of the way. Now let's get into the actual sewing machine settings, and yeah, let's get over there. All right, so this is my sewing machine, and this is the Brother SQ9185. Like I said in the beginning, I have the light off. That's why you guys can see the shadows, but if I cut the light on, see what happens? You kind of can't see the stitches that I'll be talking about. And when I cut this on, you won't be able to actually see the screen. So I'm cutting the light off if you're wondering why I have the light not on, so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. But yeah, this one comes with so many different stitches. Let me bring this up closer to y'all. So many decorative stitches that you can use if you're that type of sewer. It has more stitches that are hidden in this compartment up here as well. I don't know if you can see that. Hold on. More stitches up there. This is also, this machine does embroidery, the most basic. I want to tell you basic, it's really basic, the most basic embroidery. But this is really cool because when I first started, I used the embroidery settings to make my own tags to go inside of my swimsuits with just basic fabric. So this is really good if you don't want to splurge on, you know, your own tags right now. This works really good for the most basic letters and numbers and stuff like that. So that's what that is for. Now as far as the settings go, let's talk about this, or the functions of the machine. So this right here, you can see there's 3 little things on the side of the machine. It has an A, it has another little stitch pattern, and has more stitch patterns. This correlates to what part of the machine you're getting your stitch from. So for A, you're gonna be using this. It has a big A right there to let you know that's the embroidery function, right? And up here, the top one, let me lift it up. So the top one has this little guy right here. So you would press the button until you get to that one. Let me cut it on. All right, so you would press the button until it gets to that one. That way, you know, when you type in the stitch, it would be in response to up here, right here, or over here. That's just the overall of how that works. Now, for the bottom, as far as the settings go when it comes to the stitch lengths and stuff like that, I think I have to turn the camera down just a little bit so you guys can see it. Let me turn this down so you can see the actual functions of it. Okay. All right, I think that's good. So you can see enough, I think. You can see that enough in here. Basically, this is what tells you exactly what you're doing on the machine. So when you look at this, you have the 0 right here, and a letter up there has the letter J. Then you have the stitch length and the position of the needle. So this is the position of the needle number at the top, and this is the stitch length, meaning if you wanted a loose stitch or a much tighter stitch, you would change the tension right here, okay? Now, the J stands for which presser foot you're gonna be needing, meaning your sewing foot down here on the actual machine. So every time you switch the length for a buttonhole, obviously, you know, you need a different presser foot on your machine. So this one right here will change according to what letter that is. And they all come with the machine, and they're all held in a little secret compartment at the bottom inside of here. So that's pretty cool. Now, as far as the stitches go, I'm gonna show you really quick while it's on the 0. So I'm gonna change this to a number 1, but the number 1 down here. And all it is, you leave this as 0, and then you press it up to 1, right? Now, I'm going to show you what happens when you change the stitch number. So this one up here, like I said, the top, the position number. See how that doesn't change with a straight stitch? The needle never moved. But if you change this, oops, let me use it. But if you change this number, it will move for you in accordance to what stitch you're trying to do on this machine. So I'm gonna put mine back down at a number 1, okay? I'm gonna leave it like that. Now the coolest part, which I could actually turn the, okay, so the coolest part about this machine is that it works automatically, meaning you don't have to use an actual, this is a presser foot. Why I keep saying the names wrong of these pieces. But anyway, you don't have to use the actual foot pedal with this machine. You can see it's not plugged in at all. It's on my desk. And that's because it has an automatic sewing function to do it digitally. It's computerized, so it knows what it's doing and has a button here to let you do that. This arrow allows you to just start sewing. This is to put the needle down, and this is to do a back stitch. So it's back stitch, a needle down, and needle up, and to automatically start sewing. Now, just for reference, I have scrap fabric right here, and all you would do to do automatic, you can plug this in. I do plug this in sometimes depending on what I'm sewing, so I can have more control over it for stop and go and speed and all of that. But for right now, I'm going to show you on the automatic setting. And you would just put this, you would lift it up, line it up. You can automatically see where the needle is at on there, and then you would press this one and you see it dropped down the needle. You would put that down. It's on a straight stitch right now, and to start sewing you would just press this button. But before I start sewing, I want to show you guys the speed setting as well. So this one right here is for speed. So to the left it's super slow. You push it over to the right, it's super fast. And I'm going to show you an example right now of how, or what I mean with that. So you would press to start sewing. It's sewing automatically by itself. You see how slow it's going? And as you move it, it speeds up. And you can slow it down. You can do back stitch. You hold this and it goes backwards. Take the needle out, lift that up. All done. And that is a straight stitch. Voila. Magic. Okay, you guys, so that is the end of this video. Those are my sewing machine settings. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys got a lot out of this video, because I always get the question, what are my machine settings? These are what I use. I showed you everything on here that I would typically be doing on a regular basis when it comes to sewing projects or sewing for my swimwear brand or whatever I'm sewing. Everything was talked about in this video. Let me know if you have specific questions about this video or the sewing machines down in the comment section below. Give this video a like, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.